Hi everyone, welcome. This is CFWC Back to the Basics workshop for the summer, and today is July the 1st. Happy holidays. And today's is all about finances. So welcome, and you will be able to find this eventually on the CFWC Facebook page, and then you will also be able to find it on the CFWC YouTube channel. So welcome. We look forward to seeing everyone. Have a good day. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to today's Back to Basics workshop. It is all about finances, and let's just go over a few rules of the room before we get started. Due to the format today, we actually have more time, so we're going to ask you to start with a question and then get back in line if you have an additional question, and we will try to answer as many questions as we can today. Let's talk about muting. So when you're in a room with this many people, you want to mute everyone, and Debbie's going to do that now, except for, yeah, Debbie's going to do that now. And the reason why we do that is
except you're muted, Sonia. Muted everyone.
Why, thank you, Debbie. So back to mute. So if you have all the speakers unmuted, then the speakers mess with each other. And you guys have been in a room when one speaker makes a tremendous amount of noise. So that's why we ask you to keep yourselves muted during the meetings. The second thing is a stop video. Now, let's say your dog runs in the room and starts barking and jumps on top of you, you spill your coffee on your shirt, and you need a minute to pull yourself back together, take it. And we're going to tell you why. All of these meetings are being recorded and they will be up on YouTube. And you want to make sure that you're being represented in the way that you want to be represented. And sometimes I think we forget that we're on the screen being recorded. So what you need to do to stop your video is you take your mouse and go to the bottom left-hand side of your screen, and there is a little word down there that says stop video. You are not leaving the meeting. This just gives you that minute to pull yourself back together, to get a new shirt on, to get your dog back out of the room, and then you can come back in the meeting. So I do remind everyone that these are recorded and put on YouTube because I was in a meeting the other day doing some training, and one of the gentlemen was eating and his mouth was open and cereal was going everywhere, and it really was kind of embarrassing. The other thing was a nice lady had to blow her nose and she forgot she was on camera, and that got to be awkward. So I just want you to keep in mind that this is a recording and that it will be public in the future. So raising your hand, I'd like everyone to practice, please. If you are in a PC, I want you to go to the bottom of your screen and there's a reactions button, and you can lower and raise your hand. And what that does is put you into order of the question that you asked. The one that we have to keep track of today is that we do have chat, but we're not addressing chat. We're just going to have Lynn. Lynn, thank you again for all you do for all of us. Thank you, Lynn. She will be reading the questions out loud to the room in chat. Now, here's what we're asking, because it's a really big meeting. If you can raise your hand and ask a question, raise your hand and ask a question. The only people we would like to be in chat today are the people that cannot raise your hand. Please let the people that cannot have access to the room to use chat for that access. Now, if you have an iPad, if you didn't know this, I learned this the other day, you want to tap on the screen, and then there's like a participants icon that looks like a group of 3. You go to the bottom of the box, you'll see a blue hand, and you type on that blue hand, and that gives you that opportunity to raise your hand on an iPad. All right, that's cool, right? Okay, so we ask you to rename yourself when you're in a meeting with CFWC so that we know for our credential squad who's in the room. So what you want to do is you want to go to your particular square, you go to the 3 dots, and then you go to rename, and you want to have the name that you hold in that particular meeting on the screen. Does that make sense? Okay. If you have any questions on that, you're always welcome to ask. Okay, so here's the big. So we know that, okay, the last one, view. So you go to top right-hand part of your screen, there's a tiny little word up there, say view. And what you want to do is, I don't know what happened there. Gallery view. Okay. And you want to choose either gallery view, which is everyone, or you want to choose speaker view, which is just the person with the speaker open. Keep that in mind. If we're in speaker view and someone's speaker is open, then your face is going to be the big face on the recording of YouTube, okay? So keep that in mind. During our meetings, we use something called spotlighting. And so when the speaker's speaking, we spotlight you. Questions on any of this? Raise your hand, ask a question. Okay, if you're comfortable, we'd like to keep going. So let's say that your Zoom isn't working and you can't get your camera to work. Let's say that you're supposed to go get the certificates of appreciation out of the Dropbox and you just can't get it to work and it's making you really upset. Or if you want to learn how to do something that the communications team is trying to teach everyone and it's going too quickly and you need some time alone. This is what we do on Sunday, not this Sunday, but every other Sunday, because this Sunday is 4th of July. So on Sundays from 11 to 2, we open a help desk. And that help desk, you can give me your email at the crwccommunications@gmail.com. And you can come in and we will help you get the camera on, figure out Dropbox, how to download, how to upload, how to get the videos off of Dropbox. So then that gives you a chance to have a one-on-one with the comm team, okay? And I know that we're asking you to grow really quickly, so we understand that's why we're doing that. Okay, so we're gonna move on. Pam is not here for this workshop. Charlotte, did you have a question? Or is that applause? That's applause, okay. So we're gonna move on. I'm going to introduce the people in the room. Our first vice president is Barbara Briley-Beard. And Barbara, come on in and say something.
Just want to tell you all, thank you for being here. It is a big class. We've got 79 right now that are in. So, we'll have a good time with it. We had a big finance meeting on Tuesday, and we hope to just continue on and answer any and all questions. Marcia and Reggie are amazing. They are our finance team. And I think that you'll get the answers today that you're looking for. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, Barbara. My whole goal in life is to learn to speak as eloquently as Barbara does. Okay, our second vice president is Sonia Matisse. Sonia, welcome.
Okay, I'll get the hang of this soon. Yes, I'm like Barbara, I'm just pleased so many of you are here today, and I'm looking forward to learning a lot, and I know you will too. So thank you for coming.
Thank you, Sonia. Okay, our financial team that will be presenting today is Reggie Maddox. She is the Director of Finance. Jill Drescher is our Financial Secretary, and Marcia LaRusso is our Treasurer. So without any further ado, here we go. Reggie, you're up first, is that correct? Do you want to unmute? And then I will spotlight you.
Okay, thank you. I'm so glad to see so many people here today. Our main focus today, because we've talked an awful lot about the various things the finance team and talked a lot about the areas that we cover, is to kind of educate you on our duties and our jobs more specifically, and not so much on the theories and the topics. So the finance committee is made up of 5 of us: the president of CFWC, Pam, the first vice president, which is Barbara, then myself, and I'm the chairman of the committee, and then we have our treasurer and our financial secretary. And both Marcia and Jill are going to tell you about their specific jobs. And I'm so glad to see Marcia here. I was panicked because I'd heard an hour and a half ago she wasn't going to be here, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to talk about her job. So I'm so glad to see you, Marcia. The finance committee is the committee that has more or less the final decision on all the finance jobs in the for CFWC. And we meet preceding each of the conferences and convention. And we during COVID, we've been meeting more frequently, but basically those are the only times that we meet unless there's an emergency, and then we'll have a special meeting. And all the finance things start with us. For example, if Sonia needed some extra money or something for communications, then she contacts me. And then if it's not in the budget or cannot be figured out how to get it through the budget, then I have to get the approval of the finance committee. And the way that works just is through, we approve the amount of money that may go. And if at this time of the year, what we're going to be doing is putting money into the budget for future years. But normally, if it's just a one-time expenditure, we'll approve that, and then we send it to the executive committee, and then that goes to the executive board that passes that amount of money. So that's the way the finances, if you have a big bill or something that you need to have, or you have this big dream of a project that you think that can go, that's the process of any money that goes through CFWC. Also, the finance committee is the one that's responsible for the budget. Basically, I'm usually the one, the finance director is usually the one that starts the process, and then it gets input from the other people. And we present that in the election year, we presented at the July board, but this year then it's always passed at the September board. So be looking for that. I think one of the things that happens with the budget a lot of times is it comes up and people just say, yes, and they never read it and they never look at it until after it's all passed. And then they start picking it apart. And really you need to look at the budget ahead of time. And then if there's a question about it, ask it at that time. Then it's much easier to deal with than after it's passed. And remember always, it's a proposed budget. And sometimes things go a little above, and a lot of times we end up with items below. So look for that at the September conference in San Diego. We'll be approving our budget for next year. The committee also approves all of the deposits and investments in this trust. And there's not a lot because we have a trust officer from Bank of America that really handles all of that. They're very knowledgeable, and they handle all those investments according to our bylaws and according to our goals and objectives and our standards. We're also responsible for our group liability insurance, and we talked a lot about that Tuesday, so we're not really going to talk about it again. I don't want this meeting to be a repeat of everything that we've said before. If we've told you something about 3 or 4 times, then you still have a question, maybe that's okay, but we really don't need to spend a lot of time going back over a lot of things. But this is the committee that is responsible for that group, approving that group liability. And if people are unhappy with the company or anything, then this is where it would start, and we would deal with that. And this information, and maybe I should have started with that. Did you get those nice handouts? And that one that's so colorful, that's about 50 or 60 or 70 pages long, really long. We're on page 14 is about where we are. Or otherwise it's in the small 5-page handout that just came from the finance team. Then the other thing that we do, and we really do this more as a committee because it sort of gets passed from one person to the other, is our objective is to, and goals are to work with clubs with IRS filing problems, and also to remind clubs of their tax time. So that's the kind of things that we are responsible for as far as a committee goes. Then as director of finance, what I do is I'm the chairman of this committee. So I'm the one that has to make out the agenda, and I'm the one that has to call the meetings. And of course on the Zoom, why then I was having to do that too. It's a lot easier when you just have to send out an email with the agenda and say we're meeting at such and such a time before our regular meetings. But that's what happened this way. The buck more or less stops here. If I'm the one that is responsible for this committee. All the bills are sent to me, and I think this is sometimes what gets misunderstood. People are sending their bills to Marcia because they know she writes a check, so they just send them to her, but she can't write the check until I approve it. So you always send your bills to me, and there's a form on the website called a remittance for payment. I believe that is what it's called, and it's right there. You fill that out. And this is only for club woman, just a member cannot do that. It has to be something that's been budgeted and are being reimbursed, like the officers. And then I get that, and then I approve it, and then I send it to Marcia to pay. So that's one of my big jobs. We use QuickBooks for our bookkeeping, and all of the records are kept on there. All of the incoming, it's more or less, you could think of it as your checkbook. And that's where all of the deposits and all of the checks show up. And once a month, like today is the day that I should have been working, but I didn't have time to do it, on my bank reconciliation statements, just like you do for your home banking and for your club banking. You need to, balance your checkbooks, and or if you're doing it all online, you still need to go through and balance that and make sure that what you have calculated is what the bank has. Have you ever known a bank to make a mistake? Yep. So you have to keep in track of that. If anybody doesn't know how to do bank reconciliation statements, let me know. That used to always be on the back of your bank statements, and they've taken that off. So if you don't know how to do that, I can certainly give you an example on how to reconcile your bank statements. The other thing that I do is I have to have a working knowledge of the IRS, Internal Revenue System, the franchise tax board, and how to manage and get through their websites, because when clubs call and ask a question, I have to be able to access that information and help them. There's some club right now that I wish, if you are on this meeting, that have called me, and I said that I would help you, and then you were going to call me yesterday and you didn't. Please do. I'll help you. And I can't remember who it was, sorry, but do call me. The other thing is, besides being chairman of this committee and doing all of those things, I'm also serve on the convention committee. Well, that was really easy this last year. There was no convention, so I didn't have anything to do. But I'm sure that when the convention committee starts meeting again, that I'll have a lot to do on that too, because I'm on that committee to look at and keep track and help with the money spending and their income. I'm also serve on the communication committee, and that committee, of course, has been extremely busy this year, and I just admire those girls so much for all the work they've done. They've done absolutely a fantastic job. And I think that all of you here on this would agree with me that they really have put forth a lot of hours. Good thing we're not paying a minimum wage. We would have a big budget item, wouldn't we? I really commend them on being very frugal. I know that both Sonia and Lou, they just scamper to find, and Debbie too, they just scamper to find the best deals and see how they can cut and stay within the budget. So they've really been working hard. The other thing that I'm responsible for is the inventory, and that's the inventory of our items that we have in storage, and also the inventory that is for our sales. And that is, I have to do that with, of course, with a lot of help from other people. So, but that is also one of the responsibilities for the financial director of finance. I also, and I don't think, I meant to say it at the beginning, and I don't think I did. When you sign on in the finance department, you come in as financial secretary, and that is, you come on, that's a 2-year job, but you really sign on for 6 years. And you do 2 years as a financial secretary, then 2 years as treasurer, and 2 years as the director of finance. And, you know, I've always said, no matter what office it is you're in club, by the time you get through into your 2nd year, you've almost learned what you're supposed to be doing. And I think that's really true in finance. By the time you about get down to the 2nd year in the financial secretary, you've really got this down, and you really know how to get those dues recorded in your Excel sheets and everything. And I think the same thing falls true as treasurer, and it definitely is falling true in this job. You really need that experience. And I think by being in this department, in this committee for 6 years, by the time you do get up there I'm now in my last year, the 5th year, you really are beginning to understand the district and or the state and their finances and how all of these things work. Because like I said, we're not only dealing with the finances, but we're also dealing with the insurance and the IRS and the trusts and all of those kinds of things. It's a wonderful experience. Anybody who is interested in finances all should look at running for these offices because it's really is fun. So I'm going to stop now and then go ahead and let Marcia start, unless there's some question that they have for me regarding my job.
Let's do this. I understand that there's questions, and Elise, thank you for bringing it up. We'll address it after they've done their opening statements, if that's okay with you.
That's fine. Thank you.
Okay, and so if you will lower your hands, then we will move through all 3 offices, and then we will ask them if they will do that section, okay? But let's let them do their part first. So thank you, Reggie, for everything. You are an amazing team member, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so next would be Marcia. Marcia, did you? Let me
Okay.
unspotlight one, and I'll get you spotlighted here real quick. I'm sorry about that.
That's okay. What I want to talk about is everybody knows that my job is basically I write checks, but I just don't write checks unless I am directed by Reggie, our Director of Finance, that she sends me a warrant and then I know to write the check. What I want to talk about to everybody is everybody's favorite thing in the world, and that is taxes. I've had my own tax practice for 42 years. I just recently retired. So if you do have a question in this area, I will be able to help you out. So all you need to do is email me or call me, and I'll be happy to do that. And I just want to understand that everybody, every club, every district needs to file a tax return every year. It doesn't matter if you're under our umbrella as a 501c3, you still need to file your tax return individually. And most of the clubs and districts will be able to file electronically on a postcard. And it's a very simple process. There's a handout that you were given for this workshop, and I suggest that you follow it. It gives you all the websites. It tells you step by step what to do. It tells you which forms that you need to file based on what your income is and everything that there is. IRS is easy. There's only one form you have to ever file with IRS. The state, on the other hand, they love paperwork. They like you to give them all sorts of information. So, and that is where you have to file numerous different types of paper with them. And one thing that everybody needs to remember to file, because it's only every 2 years, and that's your statement of income, and that's filed with the Secretary of State. So, and most of the time what happens is the postcard reminder is sent to the president. That was 2 years ago. And by the time that the new statement of information is ready to be filed, we have a new president. So it's important that you furnish the information that prior officers give the new officers information so they can have that to do. So if you have any questions after we have finished, I'll be happy to answer anything that you have. But that's basically my area that I deal with.
Thank you
Thank you.
so much, Marcia. And I had no idea that you had all that experience. I can't wait to be more user-friendly in that area. Thank you so much for all of your experience and your time and effort that you put into this. It's just amazing. All right, our third is Jill Drescher. Jill?
Yes. Okay, there I am. I'll be bouncing around here with papers I have in front of me as we talked about the finance in March, and then just 2 days ago, and I'm looking at our job description. So the financial secretary should have the education and experience in the field of finance, and it's assumed that if elected, she will be a candidate for treasurer and ultimately director of finance. I have a degree in economics and business, and before I moved out to California, I was a vice president in a bank in New York, and you ladies would be very interested that, well, not anymore, but years ago, I would be able to tell you what all your diamonds were worth, because that was my specialty, diamond financing. But my most visible duty is receiving and depositing all money received from the dues and approved project. And last February, after the board meeting, I sent out an email to all the district presidents and treasurers with the club information form, data blank, and the form for new and late paying members, and the dues remittance form. And they're so easily accessible on our website that and easy to work with. The club information form lists the incoming president and treasurer. It used to be a secretary, but I think that makes a lot more sense that we have the treasurer on that now. And has useful information regarding the club's mailing addresses and when they meet, and which is important for our yearbook. And that's what I will be doing soon, as it will be getting all the information together for Tony Lima. I don't know. I know that I was surprised when I learned recently that we are going to have a complete new yearbook this year, since it's all done digitally. I have these implants, Invisalign now, so if I stutter once in a while, you'll understand why. As Reggie had mentioned both other times, that one of the important things is to always use the correct the name of your club. And I think what we've said in the past, and we should always remind our members that that 15% of the dues that the clubs do pay go to GFWC and 4% to the state, and then most of the districts charge another not more than $4. One thing that has come up, and I was asked to talk about at the meeting on Tuesday, was when are dues due? Historically, clubs brought the dues to the district convention in April, and the districts brought one check for their clubs to the state convention in May. Our bylaws say that our dues are due on or before May 15th and delinquent on June 15th. And I'm required, which I have done, to advise the district area first and second vice presidents, as well as our state president of clubs who have not paid their dues by June 30th. There was one district that hadn't sent it in, but we were told the other day, and I've gotten an email, and I think the package is in the mail and it's supposed to be delivered tomorrow, that I will have the dues from this district. And then there are only 8 other clubs, what I don't think is too bad. Then I should get them shortly. Everybody's been advised, so maybe with some help that they can rattle their cages and get them. I do have dues. Let me see, I have papers. I have received dues for 209 clubs, and I have total membership dues received for 8,486 members so far. So, and so the July 31st is an important date. That historically has been the cutoff date for our yearbook, and it will be again this year. And I'm working on getting the information together for Tony Lima. And Another important date is December 31st. After the initial data blank, all other dues should be submitted on the new and late paying member form. And I will accept dues. I hate to say it because I know that December 15th. And the figure we use at the end of the year is what we pay. We will advise GFWC how many members we have at the end of the year. And they will send us an invoice, and we will, Reggie will transfer the funds over from the savings account. That's where all the dues funds that I receive go into a savings account. And that meant a lot more probably years ago than it does now, since we don't make any interest on anything now. But years ago, I guess they would, I can remember you would make maybe 5 or 6% on it, at least even, maybe even more than that. But by collecting the dues early, we will have no problem in paying them when they're due to GFWC in February. And our voting deals are based on the figures that we have submitted with GFWC. Let me see, what else do I want to talk about? And Reggie did mention that all of our, I keep track of everything that I receive in our QuickBooks program. And then I also keep track of the number. One of the important things, I keep track of the number of members in our Excel program. And as Reggie did mention, it does get much easier the second year. Now, when I first started doing this, I was very nervous. One thing that made it difficult, we got these cards, but the cards were only good, and you couldn't get into a bank. And the cards were only for the general checking account, not for the savings account, and so I think at first, Reggie couldn't understand why all the dues were going in the wrong account. That's because I didn't have a card. But we'll know next time we go to see the bank that we make sure that we get proper cards. So let me see what else I have to do here. I think I've covered just about everything that I do.
Thank you, Jill.
Always, excuse me?
I was just saying thank you.
Oh, okay. Fine.
Yeah, no, I understand that there are questions on the floor. So here's what we're going to ask you to do. I'm going to remove that spotlight. Okay, thank you, Debbie. Here's what we're going to ask you to do. I can tell in the chat, my free financial gurus, that insurance is going to have to be discussed today. And they're just asking for a brief discussion, but I'm asking for a specific question. So I've asked them if they could raise their hand, ask a specific question, and then let you answer it. So here, ladies, this is what we're asking. Insurance is a very broad topic. So if you could raise your hand and ask a specific question to a particular person of the three. So say, Jill, I would like to know, or Reggie, it'd be great if you could explain, then that will help them know how to answer your questions, okay? So we're not going to just cover all of insurance. So if we could start out, if it's okay, we're going to start out with Vicki. Vicki, if you'll unmute and ask your question to a specific person, please. If you wouldn't mind unmuting, that would be great.
Okay, I'm sorry. My question doesn't regard insurance. It does regard membership.
Okay, who would you like to direct that to?
The financial secretary, Jill, please.
Okay, fantastic.
Jill, we keep getting checks from members, and they're typically members that have belonged for years, and they just forget to send their check in by March or April, and they filter in all year long. So we can add them as new member, or as members for us for our yearbook. Do we wait to give you one check in December then, for the members that have added after we gave you our numbers in April or May?
I think what you should do is send checks monthly. I think that they should send them by, say, the 15th of the month.
Okay.
That would be helpful for me. After this initial, after everything is done, I probably will count, I will probably do the, any stragglers will be done once a month, and that would be.
Because that comes up every year and I just wanted to verify it. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much. If you'll go ahead and mute yourself, I've lost you for some reason. I'm so sorry. Lisa, I apologize. I didn't mean for you to get lost in the shuffle. I figured you'd raise your hand again, but would you mind being more
Okay.
specific than going over all insurance?
Oh, no, actually, my question wasn't about insurance either.
Oh, I apologize. I
But
thought
I
it
wanted
was.
I wanted to address it, I believe, to Reggie. And the question is, when you were discussing the structure of CFWC finance, is it an expectation that the clubs would have a similar financial committee structure? Or if clubs are smaller, for example, is there more leeway and flexibility?
Yes, there definitely is, because sometimes there's clubs. I belonged one time to a club that only had 5 members through my many years of federation. And you have to, no, you definitely aren't. A lot of clubs do have 2, a financial secretary and a treasurer. A few of them have 3, and a lot of them just have 1, a treasurer. So no, definitely they don't have to have 3.
Thank
Do
you,
whatever-
Lisa. I appreciate your question. The
Okay,
next
thank you.
person in line is Jerry. Jerry, you had a question?
Yes, I had a question for Jill just quickly about dues. I guess I got confused with the July dues. According to the bylaws, clubs have until July the 15th to pay their dues to the district. So does that mean then the district has until July 31 to get it to CFWC?
I don't know where where it says that they have until July the 15th, but our bylaws say that they're due by May 15th and they're delinquent on June 15th. But we're using a figure of as of July 31st for our yearbook. Anything after that comes in after the original data blank should be come in with on your new and late paying members forms.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much for the question. Our next question is Donna. Donna, if you could rate, who would you like to speak to, please?
I guess my question is an insurance question to Reggie.
Okay, go ahead and ask it, and please be as specific as possible.
The way I understand it, somehow the CFWC has an insurance company picked out to be used by the whole state, by the state officers, but not the districts, but not the clubs. That's the part I don't understand.
Okay.
Actually, the state did not pick any insurance company for the districts or the clubs. See, I don't know exactly how to address that question, because the state has a bonding insurance for their officers, the elected officers, for bonding. All districts and clubs should have a bonding insurance also, and it can be worked in different ways. We did not have a recommendation. They would need to find their own. Our state has a liability in policy that covers the districts. And that is the one that is by Philadelphia Insurance. And that is the one that each district pays a set amount based on the number of people, or the size of the district is an easier way to say that. That is for liability only. It is not for directors and officers. It is for district activities that you would be holding. And so district things that would happen, and it is not for clubs. It does not. Your club should have their own liability insurance. GFWC on their website has an insurance company that they do. I'm not sure the recommend would be the right word, but they work with, that's one that gives a very good discount. And it's well worth looking into that insurance for liability. And and we have on, again, for our officers, a director and officer liability insurance, but it's only for the state officers. It is not for district officers, and it is not for club officers. And that covers us in case we would have something happen to us on our way to a meeting or something. Does that answer your question? We don't recommend any of them, but the GF does have a name of a company that gives you a good discount. Does that help you at all?
Yes, Reggie, that was very clear, and I appreciate that also, because I just ran into a club insurance situation and I called Tatiana at GFWC and they sent me the information. I had it done within 24 hours. So they are very good at helping you, and it actually was extremely affordable. So thank you, Reggie. That made it very clear. So Doris, your hand is raised. Can you tell us who you would like to address?
Jill, please.
Okay.
Hi, Jill again. Mount Diablo District Treasurer. We are still waiting on one club, as happens often. We still don't have anything yet from them. I guess just as soon as we get it, send it.
That's
even
right.
if it's after any particular deadline or anything.
Up until December 30th, 15th.
Oh, okay. Didn't know it could go that long.
If it doesn't get in, by the end of July, then they won't be in the yearbook. So
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
thank you, Doris. I appreciate
Understood
that
that.
question. Okay, so we're gonna mute, and Linda Kuntz, you had a question, please? Who would you like to ask it of?
Yes, thank you, Sonia. I'd like to direct this question to Jill. If I heard her correctly, she had spoken that at the end of the year, the number that goes in regarding districts and clubs, I guess, that is what determines delegates. And I understood years and years ago that the delegates were determined by the club information form that they turn in April that's sent to state, and normally state has the same numbers that the districts have. So I heard some things here.
I know that for the reports, it is the figure that's in the yearbook. But after a little investigation the other day, I have learned, I think it's been done both ways. As far as, and Reggie or Marcia can correct me, but I think it has been done as far as a number of delegates, whether it's been done by what the number is in the yearbook or at the end of the year. It has been done both ways. So that's something that maybe should be addressed, is what specifically we are going to do.
But that's Valerie's in the bylaws committee.
Yeah,
That's ours.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate these clarifications. Wendy Curran, Wendy?
Thank you. This is for Jill Drescher. Just a quick reminder, Jill, maybe to those people in attendance today that represent clubs, they need to send their membership monies to the district, and the district sends it to you, so that and your comment about send those checks even after the beginning is very important. So clubs need to get it to districts, districts send it to Jill.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. And I'm going to say brava to you again in your area, because your area does not have one club that has not sent in their funds. But I will tell you that a treasurer from a club in my own district called me on Sunday and wanted to send me the dues for their club. And I said, no, you have to send it to the district treasurer. So you have to correct.
Thank you so much. It's just all so valuable. Our next question, please, and who would you like to direct that to? And I apologize, I may not say your name correctly. It starts with an F. How would you say that name?
Arriba.
Oh, I like that. Thank you. Arriba.
Yeah. Hello, everyone from Iranian Federated Women's Club. I have a quick question. We usually have some events because part of our mission is educating the community and working with the school system about, educating the community for our culture and helping the community to learn about our American culture as well, because most of us are first generation immigrants to this country. But anyway, when we have a big event, we usually purchase annual insurance, which is liability insurance for $1 million. And about 2 years ago, I was talking to one of the agents. They told me, make sure that you are not over-insured yourself. I didn't understand that term because I know that part of the dues that we are paying to the Federated Women's Club is giving us the umbrella insurance to the member if something happened or something, because already the Federated Women's Club is paying from there. What is not what we have to do? Just a regular. I just want to know what other club is doing, because we get $1 million liability insurance. In addition that we pay dues and we get, another liability insurance that is included in our dues. That is my question.
Reggie, did you want Barbara to step in, or do you guys want to do this one?
I don't know. Barbara could step in, but.
Barbara, would you like to answer this one?
Yeah, I just unmuted on that. When you say on, the $1 million or this much, probably what you are getting through the state of California, as Reggie says, you pay by the number of members. Maybe there's 85 members or 105 members or 115. If you pay $85 a year to the Philadelphia Insurance Company, what you're getting is $1 million, $3 million of GKL. That's called your general liability insurance. Somebody slips and falls in your clubhouse or a place that you've rented and you get sued. That's what you're covered for by the state. What you are not covered for, and the clubs and the districts must buy their own, is directors and officers liability insurance. If you have 10 people on your board, you must cover them separately. And that's what Reggie is saying. Maybe you're going to go through AON, which is GFWC's company, and pay $500 or $600 a year. You are buying then the directors and officers coverage. There can be different ways that, you would maybe need that. Let's say that we'll make it, they always said if you make it funny, the person would remember it. But let's say that you were having something delivered to the clubhouse, pizzas, and one of our members got a little overly friendly with the delivery person. Maybe Domino's Pizza is going to come back against us. Your board's going to be covered for the directors and officers there if you have the policy. You are not covered unless a pizza delivery boy slipped and fell on the floor, right? Under the California Federation of Women's Club policy. You see the difference? It's either a personal thing or it is something that we said or did. Also, the delivery pizza boy could harass the president of the club and they might want to turn in a claim. So that's where they would turn it in under your personal directors and officers liability policy. So it kind of matters there for the third party where you're going to be covered. But if you'd like, you can get my email, send me an email or call me up. I certainly would be able to go over with you. I'm retired 40 years with Farmers Insurance.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much for your advice, because we are going through the Fullerton, which was advised by state of California. But, even we look at the prices that we have to pay is too much. It's a lot of money we have to spend. And also I learned that I was trying to set up the online classes through Dianza College, and they were asking me insurance for $5,000. And we realized that these are too much. We cannot afford how much the student gonna pay to pay over for the insurance. That's why I really appreciate. Would you please type your phone number and email? And
Yes.
then I will have those information and contact you. My name is Fariba Nejad, and I'm calling you from area code 408.
Oh,
Area
hang on,
code,
hang
okay.
on just a second. This is being recorded for YouTube. I don't suggest we share anything personal on this line.
Okay,
So
thank you.
if we could put it in chat, that would be really great, you guys. You have to keep in mind that this is going to be public in the future. So don't share something that you would not want your club members to hear. Does that make sense? Okay.
Completely. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, of course. If you'll go ahead and mute yourself, we'll move to the next one. Barbara, thank you so much for your advice. Maria, did you have a question, and who is it directed to?
Yes, this is to Marsha LaRusso. Marsha, this year I am able to file the N postcard for 990. If I do that, do I still have to fill out the CT TR1 to California?
Yes, you do. Once you file the postcard, and the reason why you have to file that CTR1 is because it doesn't give them any balance sheet information. And that's what they're looking for. They want to see how big your assets are.
Okay,
So
great,
that's
thank you.
basically where that form came into being, is because of the electronic postcards.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Maria. I'm going to go ahead and lower your hand. Our next question is from Sandy. Hi, Miss Sandy. How are you? Who are you directing your question to?
Reggie.
Okay, go ahead.
Reggie stated that we should look over the budget before the September conference, the proposed budget. And I was wondering where we find that.
I'm sorry, before you vote on it, it will be distributed at the conference.
So you don't
It'll
have like a month to look at it.
Yes. Okay. It'll be approved by our finance committee, and then immediately followed that, it will be approved by the executive committee, and then it will be presented to the executive board. So it will be a matter of, you've been to those before, right?
Not the finance.
No, not the finance, but
Right.
they follow one right after another. So you'll get it when you walk in. So you'll have, some time to look at it at that time.
Okay, thank you, Sandy. If you have any questions, just email her, okay? Yeah, that's great. Okay, Pat, you had a question. Who is it directed to, please?
I think I should be directing this to Marsha.
Okay.
You can correct me if I'm incorrect. I'd like to see it get addressed, the 90-10 raffle rule through the State Attorney General's office. And my question is, I've read all the information on the website, and I know that as a 501c3 organization, we have to donate 90% of the proceeds from a raffle to charity. Can we donate those proceeds back to our own club or district? And I'm going to say district. And then use those monies to pay for convention expenses.
Okay, here's what I'm gonna read something to you.
Okay,
and
wait a
this-
minute. Marsha, can I make you a spotlight? Because I need everyone to hear this.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, that is an important question, and I think there's a little confusion on this exactly what the purpose is. And you always have to remember that you are the 501c3. So keep that in mind. And here is the rule on that. At least 90% of gross receipts, total amount before the deduction of expenses from the raffle ticket sales, must be used for the charitable or beneficial purposes of the organization conducting the raffle, or for the benefit of another eligible organization. So I hope that clarifies that you can give that also, it pertains to your organization.
ask another follow-up?
Yeah.
Beneficial purposes, what is that? So is the answer yes, we can pay for convention expenses with that, or no?
I wouldn't use it for convention, but convention is a beneficial, well, convention is mainly a member. That is a tough question. I don't think I would use it for convention. I would use it for the benefit of, let's say, because we do education. There are so many things that you can apply this to in your club that you shouldn't have a problem of those raffle proceeds being funneled into a area of your club that you can use for this purpose.
Like scholarships.
Because here's where my head goes with this. We do a raffle. At convention, maybe at one of our sessions, we have somebody come to speak to us from Shot of Life, for example.
Okay.
And then we make a donation to Shot of Life. That is a charitable organization. But if we're going to use those funds to purchase corsages, pay for, say, centerpieces, printing of programs, or whatever those extraneous expenses are, is that allowed? Are we allowed to do that?
No.
Those type of expenses can only be 10% of the gross receipts.
See, and my understanding of the 10% is the 10% covers the cost to run the raffle. So the printing of tickets or.
But it's anything that has to do with that raffle. If you're using the money for a specific Shot at Life, let's say, just remember that only 10% of the expenses that you can defray those costs.
Okay, I'm going to ask Barbara to step in here also. Barbara, I'd like to hear your responses to these to help these ladies out.
I'm going to actually stay with Marcia on this one. What I think is that it would be a lot safer, Pat, to use it for scholarships, you know, the money coming back, rather than to use it for something like corsages or something for the ladies. I would definitely go straight into scholarships with those funds, and then there'll never be a question. IRS will love you.
Okay, did that help, Pat? That's a thumbs up on Pat. That's a thumbs up on Wendy. Did everyone else okay with that? Okay. So Abby, go ahead, Reggie. Did you have a response to this, Reggie?
Well, I was just going to say there's so many other ways you can, rather than a 50-50, that you could raise money. If everybody, let's say, donates a basket, why not try doing a silent auction on the baskets instead of selling raffle tickets? There's other ways that you can make money and not have a raffle. And so you might want to give that some consideration.
50-50s are illegal.
Oh, hang on, Pat. You are not allowed to interrupt like that. It is not okay. We're asking for you guys to let the leaders lead. Reggie, I realize that there's going to be a lot of questions on raffles. Is there anything else you wanted to cover before this goes down this road?
Personally, I think we've kind of beat raffles to death. And I really think that Marcia read that, and I think that's very clear. We have heard also, and it's in quick bites, what the lawyer has to say. And I really think that unless somebody has something about raffles that's different, a different perspective or something, I don't know as we need to.
Okay, and here's the other thing that Pam, and this is the other thing Pam asked of today, is that we do not share about what's happening in our districts or our clubs specifically, so that it is not on YouTube in a specific manner. So if you have a specific answer about raffles, please do not share what club you're in so that it goes up on YouTube about a certain area or club, okay? So Abby, did you have a specific question for anyone?
I don't have a question, but I have a congratulations that I would like to extend to Marcia. And that's for her 42 years for a tax practice. She has brought to the team tremendous amount of knowledge. I appreciate all you ladies from what I have heard here in reference to raffles. I can proceed ahead. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, Abby. I appreciate that perspective. Thank you so much. Maria, did you have a specific question, and who is it addressed to? And can we stay away from raffles, please?
Yes, I'm not sure which of the three officers this would be best, who would answer the best. But can you touch on resale licenses? I know that one club in my district had to pay taxes on the sale of hot dogs. And a lot of the clubs do not expect this when they have sales. So can you touch on that just briefly?
Let Marcia do that. She can do that. She just got ours resale license, so she can tell you that.
Yes, okay. We actually, the state has just recently received their seller's permit and resale license. Because we are going on the internet with our marketplace. So we had to have a resale license. And yes, clubs do need to look into that. If they do have certain sales, yes, you do need to have a seller's permit. And it's not a difficult thing to obtain. It's just a matter of filling out a form and being willing to give them, one person being willing to give them your social security number, your driver's license, so they have somebody that they can deal with.
Did that answer your question, Maria? Thumbs up? Yep. Okay, fantastic. We're going to lower your hand. Our next question is Linda. Linda, you have a question? Anything but raffles, please. And can you unmute yourself and direct it to a specific person? Thank you.
Yes. Since we are not allowed to ask any more questions, that you just said that on raffles, that is so important. And you said that we were specifically doing questions, and I respect Marcia's career, but yet there are members that can do congratulations. So the thing is, I think we need to stay with your rules. And I know I see you with your hands but I'm sorry. I mean, it is what it is. And I don't understand why we're not following the instructions you gave us to begin with. But even though you say we can't do raffles, anybody goes on the Attorney State General and they will see 50/50s are illegal. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Linda. All right, so our next question is Kathy. Kathy, you have a question?
I do. The resale license thing just kind of got me. If a club has a rummage sale, do they need a resale license for that?
You have a no from all three.
Okay, and
so congratulations, you got it good from all three.
If our club were to say, put on a vendor fair where we had different vendors come in and sell their things, and they are buying a booth space from us, do we need to make sure that each of those vendors have a resale, or is that not our responsibility?
That is their responsibility, not yours, but you should just tell them that they are the ones that are going to be taking care of that.
Okay.
You're not doing it.
Okay, and then I know I don't want to take, like, I sell Avon. I don't have to have a resale certificate for Avon. So if somebody was a direct salesperson, do they need to have a resale certificate if they're coming to a vendor fair?
Yes.
Direct sales does need to have one. Okay. Okay, thank you.
And Kathy, I have one for my photography. It was not difficult to get. It's just literally paperwork and waiting 3 weeks.
Yeah, I've had one before when I had a little small craft business. I was just curious as to rummage sales. Thanks.
Yeah, sure. Okay, our next question is from Vicky. Vicky, who are you addressing and what is your question, please? You're muted, love. I'm sorry. Everyone does it.
I'm sorry, I forget. It could be to any of the three. It's again about the resale. That kind of surprised me. We have sold small items in the past. We bought some kind of a logo item and paid for it from the club and then sold it to our members to basically pay our treasury back and maybe make a little bit of money, but it's never been, you know, a true fundraiser. But do we need a resale license in order to even do that? Because it is merchandise and it is logo.
Reggie, did you want to take this one or do you want Marcia to do?
Well, Marcia can, but I wouldn't think that that would be required because it's, but Marcia, answer, please.
Okay, Marcia.
No, no, for something like that, first of all, you're not selling to the public. You're selling within your club and you've already paid tax on that, whatever items you bought. So you're all good with that. That's not a big thing. You gotta
Marcia,
remember,
maybe you could just kind of generally touch on what would need or kind of an overview since it's raising so many questions.
I would say once you open yourself up to the public, then that's when you definitely have to have that permit. But when you're just selling things within your own little club, nobody's gonna bother you. Plus, you're already paying the sales tax. You're not doing wholesale.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you for that. That does help considerably, doesn't it, ladies? All right, one last question. Who would like to be the person? Anyone? Okay.
I have a question.
All right, who is it that's asking?
Fariba.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't see your hand up. I apologize.
I'm sorry. I just by mistake.
Okay, so I'm just going to ask you a favor. Just be mindful that this is going to be public afterwards, okay?
I understand.
So no
that.
names or anything if you don't mind.
Okay. I have a quick question. Yeah, thank you for, reminding me. I have a quick question. We are, when you are publishing any book that we are doing it as our, and it's available on Amazon. Amazon is already taking care of the license and everything for us because it's part of the publication and they are selling it. Do we have to get extra license by any chance?
Does this go to Reggie or Marcia?
That was Marcia.
Marcia, can you answer? Can you explain to her more specifically what it is exactly that you're selling on Amazon? Is it a club book, a history book? Is it
no, we are creating resources for our school district about the children's storybook for the ages 6 to 11 and for the school district. That's why those books are being sold on Amazon, printed by Amazon. They do everything and they give us the very small portion to our club. They are returning about maybe $2-3 for each book that they are selling it.
And so if I understand you correctly, you're asking if you have a responsibility for the taxes on that, or what is your question?
I'm asking about, do we have to get extra license? Because when we are publish it on Amazon, they already went through all the verification. They already issue everything for us. And that's why do we have to have extra for Federated Women's Club for those?
Okay, fantastic. Marcia, do you know that answer?
Well, what I want to ask is Amazon collecting the sales tax on those books?
It's yes.
Well, you don't tax anything twice. So as long as Amazon is taking care of the tax and I'm sure the shipping also.
Yes, they do everything.
Right.
We just print it on demand, and the only thing they do is we just get a very small portion as our fundraising effort for our projects.
Thank you very much. I think that you're okay, but if you ever need additional information, just set up an email meeting or a Zoom call with them and they can go over the specifics with you.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, of course. Debbie, you had a question or a comment? You're muted, love.
Thank you. I have a comment, but only because this is something I'm very familiar with. In a past life, I worked for a man who self-published his own books, and we sold them through Amazon and through Barnes and Noble. And he had an accountant doing his taxes, so they knew, what he was doing. And Barnes and Noble and Amazon, they collect the sales tax. They've got the seller's permit, and even though you get a small piece back, it's you may have to. If you were a for-profit business, you would have to report that as income, but for our purposes, it's we just have it, and we don't have to worry about getting licenses or resale permits or any of that stuff when Amazon and Barnes and Noble sell it for us. That they incur those costs.
Fantastic. Thank you for that perspective. I appreciate that. So let's wrap this up. If there's any question that needs to be asked before we wrap up, just raise your hand right now. Otherwise, I'm going to start going down the line. Marcia, is there anything that we forgot or anything that you'd like to review now with all the questions? You're muted, love.
No, I don't have anything more to add, but if my email is in the yearbook and my telephone number is in the yearbook, so if anybody has a question that they happen to come across at another time, just give a call or email and we'll be happy to take care of it.
Thank you, Marcia. Jill, any last comments or questions or anything you'd like to bring to the forefront?
Just please keep sending me your dues.
Okay, Reggie, our fearless leader.
Well, thank you all for coming and being such a good audience. And yes, like Marcia said, contact us. My email is in the yearbook, my phone number. Use my cell this summer. That's the only thing, but I'm available, and give me a call.
It appears that we have one more question and she doesn't have access to a button. Her name is Ruby. Ruby, did you have a question, love? I see your hand is up. I'm so sorry. You need to unmute yourself, please, and direct it to a certain person on the panel. I forgot to ask everyone who could not raise their hand today. There you go, Ruby. Hi, hun. Who would you like to direct your question to?
Probably to membership.
Okay.
I belong to a club at this time. I'm also district treasurer. I have moved and I am also becoming a member of another club so that attending membership meetings and regular meetings will be much easier for me. Now I will be a member of both clubs. That information is now coming in from our district membership chairman to me, and I will be sending it on to Jill. Am I considered a new member because I'm a new member of a club and I already belong to my home club that I've been in 17 years? I'm becoming a member in fact, it's Barbara Beard's club, and I will be able to attend meetings much closer to my new location.
Thank you so much for that question. Who would like to address that? Raise your hand. Barbara?
Well, actually, I was thinking that would probably be one of Jill's. So,
okay.
And that is a very good question, Jill, that everyone always seems to want an answer to. You're a member of one club and now you decide to join a second club. So you're a new member of the second club.
I would think.
You're a new member of the first club, but does the new club get to count you as a new member? Yes, so if you paid your dues and your maybe installation fee or qualification fee, I think you get to be counted as a new member in the new club.
Okay, fantastic. Jill?
I would think so. I think that's a correct answer.
Okay, Reggie?
The one thing I have to say, you still only get, if you're at a convention or a conference, you only can vote for one club. You can't vote for both of them.
Right.
So I don't know if they're in the same district or not, but you can't vote. You don't have two votes. You can't vote for two clubs in the same.
You're one delegate vote.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's good to know. So does that help you, Ruby?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and mute you. Sonia, any last comments? Oh, you're muted, love.
No, I think it was a fantastic meeting and I think it accomplished a lot. I do think Ruby's, the last question was very good because not only that, she's accumulated years in convention or in our federation. And when you belong to two consecutively, that's interesting, but you do, I know myself, I belong to more than 2 clubs. And in the same district, I only have 1 vote. I designate where it goes, you know. But I think with her, she's belonged a very long time. And I didn't get the total years, but her years in Federation, it would be wonderful to find that out.
You would like to know from Ruby? Ruby, how many years have you been in Federation? Can you unmute and let Sonia know? Oh, I'm sorry, love, you're still muted. Do you want me to ask you to unmute? You can just push your space bar if you want to, or I can send you a button. Okay.
Uh-oh.
I'm sorry. I think, Ruby, honey, we can't hear you, and I'm so sorry about that. Can you put up your fingers? Is it like 50 or no? Okay.
I can contact her, but I think it's fabulous and okay. Should make note of it. Thank you.
Yeah, and I completely agree. You know how technology is. When you want it to work, it's just not going to work. Okay, on to Barbara. Barbara, any last comments or anything you'd like us to think about?
Just to say thank everybody very much for coming. You're wonderful. We really appreciate everything that you do for Federation and for your clubs and districts. Use your own best judgment. Remember, the club is boss and the district works for the club and the state works for the district. You are on the top of the pyramid, as Pam always says. We are on the bottom. So we work for you, and you can email us or you can call us anytime you want. If we don't get right back to you, please try us again. If you send an email or a phone call, you know, you leave a message for someone, please respond, got it, so that the person knows that that message was received, and then we will get back to you in a timely manner. But thank you very much for all your input. We had 18 wonderful questions today. I've written them down in their answers and we'll put them up for review. Thank you so much for being here.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Barbara. So again, don't forget about the help desk from 11 to 2 on Sundays. And then if you cannot find their emails, or if it's just not something that's easy for you to do, please send us a message at crwccommunications, plural, @gmail.com. And our job as a team is to get the question to the right person. So if that's the one email that you use on a regular basis, please feel free to do that and I will just forward it on, or I will send you the email that you're looking for, okay? All right, so I appreciate your understanding about today. I know that there's things that wanted to be discussed and you are always welcome to do that on a non-recorded meeting. So, well, thank you, everyone. I appreciate you. Let's give everyone a round of applause for everyone that stepped in and asked wonderful questions. And our next workshop, Lynn, where's Lynn? Lynn, would you like to tell us about our next workshop?
Sure would. The next workshop is July 10th at 1 o'clock, and it's building trust within your leadership team. Should be a good one. Also, I'd like to remind everybody that, as you know, all our workshops are being recorded and they will appear on YouTube. They will not appear on YouTube this afternoon. It takes a while to have them reformatted. So if you have club members asking you, I missed it, I want to see it, why can't I get it? It takes a while for it to be reformatted in the YouTube style. So have patience and it will appear there.
Thank you, Lynn. I appreciate that so much. And she's absolutely right. When they were only 1 hour, Facebook would pop them up within the day. Now that they're 2 hours, it's taking 5 to 7 days, just so that you know. that's what's happening. So it's literally waiting for everything to loop. It's called looping. And then I can put it up on YouTube, and then I can share it to Facebook, because Facebook will not let us put a 2-hour workshop up on Facebook as itself anymore. So patience, please. If you have any specific questions, please call me or email me. I'm in the book and I would love to talk to you, and I'm here to help. All right, everyone. So with that, we're going to call this one done. And I am very happy you are all here. And I am grateful for all the wonderful questions that you asked today. Thank you.
Have a safe holiday.
Don't forget to stop the recording.